Let's party.
And welcome to Party Loaded episode 202. This is, of course, the weekly video games podcast where we chat about everything that is going on in that world of the video game. So my name is Luke Retallick. Welcome to the show. Joined tonight by the three gentlemen. As always, we have Christian Paulson Brown, Adrian Chia, and Matt, the Game Dad, Diet. Hello,
Hi.
gents. What's going on?
Hello.
Hurrah!
Hurrah. So hopefully you're watching us live on video. If you are not, if you're just watching the or catching the audio only version of the podcast, guess what? You can watch us live now too. So in case you caught that announcement from a few weeks back, hop onto Twitch and you can watch the show as we do it right now. So
It's better.
I think it's better.
I agree.
Yeah, it's in the moment.
Better because who wouldn't want to look at this lovely mug?
Especially when you slowly lean into the camera and pull weird faces.
Yep. Oh man, it's heading towards the end of the year. We all in sort of wrap up mode for stuff. You knock off the last few things. Yeah.
Yeah, you talking about like games or just in general?
People, yeah. It's definitely people.
Wrapping people up. Yep.
There's a few left on my list. Yeah.
I'm already planning next.
Three in particular that are quite close to me.
Are you planning some Dexter-style moves involving like large quantities of cling wrap and?
No, I'm not smart. I'm not smart enough for that. I'll just have to eat your body. So
Oh no. Oh no! I mean, I was talking about pretty much everything. Like, I find this time of year, I when I start sort of listening to various other shows getting ready to do their sort of wrap ups of games of the year and various media sites, and then we have our plans for our party favorites as well. I start thinking back on all the things I'm yet to play and that I still want to kind of squeeze in before the end of the year and probably won't. But yeah. So what about the last week? Let's chat about what you guys have been doing. So who wants to go first tonight with current games?
I want to hear Adrian's shiny hunt and how that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
I have actually really good news.
Okay.
That's a lie.
No, is the really
There
good
is no
news you gave up and like destroyed the cartridge? It's
No,
never to go back.
There are no winners in this scenario.
We told you that last week.
There is no good news, and perhaps you would like to hear about more the psychological journey I've been on during the week, because
Should we set this up from last week just so that people know what we're talking about?
Okay,
So yeah.
the people who aren't aware, I've been farming a shiny Pokemon. All you basically need to know is that the odds are astronomical and it takes a huge amount of time. That's the premise. So on the Pokemon Sword and Shield Reddit, there is, it basically just turns into look at the shiny, look at my shiny, look at my shiny, is what people tend to put on the Reddit. And it does create a bit of a, and people are aware, but it creates a bit of a false perception of how easy it is to get them, because people just see like post after post after post of shinies, not realizing that the Reddit has thousands and thousands and thousands of people in it. So the odds are pretty evenly represented, but people don't think about how many people are on that Reddit. So, and I've fallen for that sort of logical fallacy myself, along with many others during this journey, but not the gambler's fallacy. I'm aware of the odds. That's not really, a huge part. But I have gone on an interesting journey of like self-loathing and sort of highs and lows and sleepless nights and quite a philosophical journey. There's even been some math involved and, consulting with the spirits. No, not that part. But let me put it this way. I can't remember the number of hours I said that I had done last. Do you guys remember?
It was like 14 or something at that point.
14 hours. Okay. Currently, my total play time is 78 hours. 58 of those are farming this Pokemon.
Holy shit!
58 hours doing the same task over and over.
I feel like this is
58 hours. Let that sink in. I think that needs to be repeated again. 58 hours.
This is a long-winded way of you sort of getting ready to tell us that you haven't succeeded, right?
No,
Well, if-
no,
you
no,
think
no,
you-
I implied that.
I think that'd be the lead-in if he had succeeded.
Yeah, exactly.
But for context as well, I finished the game, including the post-game story, and my total playtime was 27 hours
Yeah.
for the whole thing. And Adrian's 80 plus because of
Yeah,
shiny
so-
hunting.
So the psychological effect of this is that I constantly am now reminded that I have spent more than double the amount of time doing this one task than I have playing the game, like leading up to that point. So I was maybe 3/4 of the way through the main story when I started doing this, which was only 20 hours for me. And now it's up to like 78 hours. So I've done more than double of this activity.
And this is all for a cosmetically different, hard to find Pokemon.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
the reasons don't even really matter anymore. Like the Pokemon itself, in
It's what
some
it
ways,
represents. It's a symbol.
yeah, the Pokemon itself has lost all meaning. Like it's not really.
You just refuse to be
The goal
beaten by
anymore.
life and the game. Is that where we're
It's
at?
not even that. I don't even have the drive to succeed. I just have done it so much now that it's like breathing. I can't stop doing it. Like to the point where like I haven't played any other games. I haven't turned on any other game or tried to play any other game. All I've done is like, and I had a bit of an evolution where at first I was docking the Switch, playing it on the TV, and doing that, and like farming in my living room, watching the TV and nothing else. So it's just like a dark room with me staring at the screen and like twitching and waiting for it to maybe happen. And then it evolved into me having my phone on my lap watching YouTube. Evolving. So I was watching YouTube while I was doing it because I got to the point where like the routine was so ingrained that it was like driving on autopilot. And now I've made full usability of the docks of the Switch's ability to be portable, that now I sit at my computer and do it while watching YouTube.
Right.
So it's kind of evolved from like in 3 stages, like a Pokemon, to its current.
I've been scared through this entire week that I was going to get a message from Adrian that he'd found the shiny, but he was so stuck in the routine.
That killed it.
He just killed it. Yeah.
I'm not positive that hasn't happened.
Oh my
I'm not gonna
god.
lie. Like I've been in such a fugue state
Yeah.
that I can't guarantee that hasn't happened. And when you do something for that long, you start to question yourself. And I'm like, maybe I have run into it, but I killed it and I didn't realize. And I'll have no way of knowing.
Are you listening? Do you have the game audio, or are you just relying on the visual?
No, I'm just looking at it.
Maybe you had several shinies
It's like-
in a row, and because they didn't look different, you actually didn't realize. You thought you were in the same.
I've even convinced myself that the one I keep seeing is shiny, and every single one is shiny. But because I've gone crazy, I can't recognize it. Then I've got this like color blindness that's like altered my brain chemistry.
Like when you stare at a word for so long that it just starts to look like
Exactly.
it's misspelled. Like,
Exactly.
Every single Pokemon just looks the same now.
Yep. And I mean, there's logical stuff going on there where I'm like, I tried to work out the odds, and then like I was asking Christian, like, this is how probability works, right? It works like this. So this means, there should be this percentage of chance of me getting it. I realized that it's not guaranteed. But
If I was in Christian's position, if you were asking those questions, it would have been so hard for me not to just outright fuck with you.
Because Adrian's mental state was in a very delicate place. Okay?
Exactly.
No, I'm far more responsible than that.
Yeah. So, and even going onto the Reddit, every couple of days, I'm like searching the Reddit to see if other people are having the same experience, just so that I know I'm not alone in this like MC Escher maze of my mind that is this shiny farming process. And sure enough, there are people that are hitting upwards of like 5,000 encounters and not seeing a shiny. And because the game stops counting after 999, I've instead had to develop my own formula to roughly work out how many I've killed.
Like,
And it's just
per hour.
it's exactly what it is. It's encounters per hour. So I'm reliably around 50 to 60 per hour. So I'm worked out that I'm roughly in the high 3,000s at the moment. So in my mind, I'm like, there are people who have gotten to 5,000 and haven't seen any. So I got to at least get past that point and see if it happens. So, and it's not unenjoyable, to be honest. It's just happening to me.
Yeah. I'm sure that all sufferers of Stockholm Syndrome say the same thing.
Is it a game?
Exact same thing as Destiny. You're going to get it, and you're going to be like, I fucking hate this game.
But I
Why
like
did I do this
Pokemon.
to
I really
myself?
love Pokemon.
Joe, you're gonna hate it.
No,
Have you found people who have caught that specific shiny, the one you're after? Have you seen people?
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of it, but
Yes.
not people that have posted them having it.
Yeah, because the pictures could be like ripped game data or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, because I'm worried like maybe that
That's
one just
scary.
doesn't appear in the wild.
Maybe, or it could have been hatched.
Yeah. Could be hatched or hacked in or
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shut up. So, but what I've discovered is that most people who want their shinies, they just do it as soon as they're into the game, and they're just farming shithouse Pokemon to get like crappy shinies.
Well, a lot of people do the resets to get their first starter as a shiny as well. And I read this week that they've actually removed the ability to do that in this game. So
yes, that's right. Yeah. So most people are doing it on like Route 1 or 2 to get either a Zigzagoon or a Corviknight or just those starter ones. Not many people seem to be posting up like the people that are posting up other types of shinies are people that have just run into them randomly and not really farmed them. Oh shit, that just makes me sad as well.
So
anyway, listeners, tune in next week and we'll find out you'll find out whether I'm now over 100 hours or whether it's.
I want you to stream it on Twitch. Just live stream 24/7. Adrian's shiny hunting.
Shiny hunt.
Just sitting in a deteriorating couch, which has like cans of like empty soft drink and noodle bowls around you, and
Monster
just your own waste soiled on your face from where you've forgotten that you've wiped yourself and just done
I
that.
was half tempted to do a visual gag and get a whiteboard and create one of those conspiracy maps and like drag it on Instagram, point at it. Explaining the gag doesn't quite have the same effect. Anyway, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll give up. Who knows? Maybe you guys should start a Deadpool and like try and like. Or what's the one you do with a baby? We try to guess the sex of the baby. I don't know.
Oh, like the gender reveal.
Baby reveal.
Because there's lots of fires. I've seen in the news. People have like started fires because they've done like fireworks to reveal the gender.
Oh yeah,
There was that plane that crashed recently.
That plane crashed. Yeah.
yeah.
Why?
It was
Why
it was an elaborate gender reveal. They packed it full of the color that actually was going to be and then they just flew it straight into the ground.
There's people all over the world like dying because the gender reveals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a good thing because if we're trying to like thin out the population, natural
That's
selection.
the population.
Hang on. No.
Protect the chronic shiny hunters.
This is what's going to happen, Adrian. Like if you at some point end up having a kid of your own, do a gender reveal ceremony because then there's a chance that when you reveal the gender, it'll actually be shiny.
That's how you get it.
Glitter in it.
Anyway,
No,
we need
to toss this baby out. It's not shiny.
It's not shiny.
We're gonna try again.
Shiny kid.
Oh my god! Fucking
So there you go. That's what I've been doing.
somebody else talk about an actual game they've played.
Yeah, because it's not even a game what I've been doing really.
Matt, what about you? What have you been doing this week? What's on the go?
So I've been playing one game mostly this week, but I want to talk about a game that I actually played last week, and I hadn't talked about because I wanted to make sure we had time for other stuff. But I actually put a little bit of time in with John Wick Hex, which is the kind of strategy John Wick game. The best way I can describe it is like imagine XCOM, but you only have one XCOM soldier, and that's basically John Wick Hex. So it reminds me a lot of like Hotline Miami, but turn-based, which is actually really cool. And it actually like when we first heard the announcement of it, it was like a John Wick game, but it's turn-based. How the hell is that going to work? But it actually does a really good job of nailing that feeling. So it works very much like the original XCOM, where it has like time units, where doing certain movements and certain maneuvers uses up a certain amount of time units. So for instance, like if you round a corner and then somebody rushes at you, it is probably quicker to lift your pistol and take a shot at them than it would be to like dash back around the corner. And if somebody's like lifting their fist back to take a punch at you, it's faster to parry that than it is to try and dodge away, for example. Like you're kind of considering all of that. And so when you start getting surrounded by a shit ton of enemies, like that's where the game really kind of shines in like that John Wick experience, because it's like, okay, well, this guy's about to throw a punch at me, so I'm going to parry that. And then the moment I've parried that, this other guy is lifting his pistol to shoot me, but I'm John Wick, so I can lift my pistol faster, pick him off, and then turn around to that guy I just parried and like take him down onto the floor and take another shot at this guy that's running over towards me. And you're literally like strategizing like your next few movements based upon what you're currently doing with an enemy that's attacking you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a time rewind mechanic?
No.
Good.
I have a question.
Yes.
Ooh. When you complete like a level, can you watch the level back through?
Yes.
As like okay, because that
you can.
I was like, this sounds like it reminds me of Super Hot.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Super Hot's
thing.
all about like doing precise actions that, when added together, look really cool.
Yes. Yeah, and like there was a couple of levels. Like there was one where I just freaking nailed it, like all the way through. It was actually a boss level, so there's bosses. That's another thing.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I went
Crabs?
crabs. No,
Not
nothing
enemy
like crabs.
crabs? Oh.
No, sorry. Like there was a level where like I fought through all these enemies, didn't get a single hit taken, got to the boss, and then like she was in kind of like this engine room on a ship that had like these pillars around, and I could just like duck behind a pillar, wait for her to come around the corner because she had like an Uzi, and I just like fucking punch her in the face. And then like dash back around the corner while she was reeling away from the punch, take a pot shot, then realize that my pistol is empty. It's like, oh shit. So I just throw my freaking gun at her and like she gets stunned by the gun hitting her. And so I just rush in as John Wick and then just like a flurry of fucking punches and take her down. And it looked amazing on the replay. It's like, fuck, that was super cool.
So does the replay speed it up and take the sort of turn out of it? Kind of thing?
Yeah, so it takes the turns out of it. It's still clunky. You can still see where one turn starts and another turn ends. But it's very, very smooth in comparison.
It's kind of cool that it kind of like you said John Wick, right? That's the Keanu Reeves movie?
Yeah.
So it's cool that it kind of like plays on the fact that it's like a good action genre game and like turns it into like an action scene.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I think that's cool.
It's like fight choreography.
Yeah.
The only thing I dislike about it is that you can't take cover. There's no cover mechanic.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of movement. But in the movies, like John is constantly pushing himself up against cover and taking pot shots around corners and everything like that. Whereas in this, like you basically like one of the strategies I kind of developed and I was like, this feels really cheap, was like stepping around a corner and taking a shot at somebody before they realized they'd stepped around the corner. And then before they could return fire, just stepping back behind it. And that's as close as you get to a cover mechanic. It's just kind of like dancing back and forth between cover.
Yeah. It's momentum. It's like Doom.
It is very momentum based. Like
no, man, it's like fighting game mentality. If you can do it, it's not cheese. You just do it.
Probably works too.
I like that you mentioned that the enemy had an Uzi, Matt, because just this week I was thinking to myself, about how in the 90s and 80s, it seems like every action movie, the baddies always had Uzis.
Yeah.
Like they'd be on motorcycles and have an Uzi. When's the last time you saw an Uzi in a movie?
It's been a while.
They're gone. That's like a 90s thing. So good on John Wick for bringing back.
But yeah, admittedly, the game that I actually put the most time in with this week was Jedi Fallen Order.
Or as I like to call it, Darth Souls.
Darth Souls. Yeah, Darth Souls is actually a very good name for it.
I'll pay that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to report I have finished it.
Wow.
And I didn't touch the difficulty. So I finished it on Jedi Master.
Okay.
Which is
one block.
hard?
the highest difficulty is Jedi Grandmaster. Then it's Jedi
Where's
Master.
Jedi Grand Dragon?
Jedi Grand Jack.
Laser Lotus.
No, they're the ones that are racist against all Ewoks. Yeah.
So the thing I wanted to kind of say about it is choosing my game of the year just got a lot harder.
Interesting.
It's really fucking good. Like it really is like that kind of Uncharted feel of exploring the environments and everything, combined with like that kind of Dark Soulsy combat. And holy shit. Like going from the start and like I got really frustrated. I mentioned it last week, like the Ogdo-Bogdo. The big frog thing.
Yeah.
Which pissed me off and I died to it repeatedly.
Which apparently a lot of people use to grind for XP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then later on in the game, like there was another fight where I won't spoil the fight, but later on, it's this freaking awesome fight. I got in there a couple of times, and like, it does this neat thing. Like when it enters a new phase with some of the battles, it actually does like a little cutscene, which is kind of like your indication that it's about to enter another phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you die and you go back into the fight, it just skips that cutscene. So it's like you don't need to see this again. You've seen the cutscene, you know what's going on. And so I had tried that fight and then like got promptly obliterated in the first phase. Like, okay, I know what to do now. Get through the first phase, get to the second, get promptly obliterated in the second phase. Okay, I know what to do now. Rinse and repeat going through that until like I play it again, go back in and finish the entirety of the fight without taking a single hit. And after it was done and after the final cutscene ended, I'm sitting there with my hands shaking. I'm like, holy fuck, I just did that.
Yes.
Like,
You're a Souls player now, man.
You're a Souls player now.
That's what it's all about.
Sekiro.
But yes, Sekiro is on my agenda for this year. Because,
Wow.
Like,
Awesome.
That's
the buzz. That's what we all.
the buzz.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There's so many good fights in that game. And it does a really good job as well. Like, when I first started off, I constantly died. I was constantly having to work things out. I was getting a little bit frustrated, but the game does a really good job in kind of like, compared to Souls, I feel like the reason this clicked with me in such a way is because one, I enjoy Star Wars. And so I kept on reminding myself when I was getting frustrated, like, think like a Jedi and don't get pissed. Like, just, okay, deep breath. One with the Force.
Yeah.
And the moment you go back in with that in mind, like, the game just, you get into these fights, you just flow through them, and you're like, okay, that felt really good. And then you check your health bar, and it's like, oh yeah, no wonder it felt really good. I didn't take a hit.
Yeah. When you're in those fights, you got to remember that anger leads to hatred.
Yeah.
And hatred leads to suffering.
Exactly.
Leads to
And so-
master. Master Jedi.
Yeah.
It's Master Jedi's. Exactly. Yeah. I was this close to going back and popping it up to Jedi Grandmaster. But the only thing is that because there's no new game plus, I would lose all of the collectibles and gear that I picked up, which I think is another one of the reasons why it really clicked with me, is because there's so much character customization. Like, you can customize your lightsaber.
Won't find that in Sekiro.
Yeah, and like, I'm not too worried about that. But the ability to go back and actually play it again on a higher difficulty and keeping all my cool stuff would have been amazing. And I would have been all over that, and I wouldn't be planning on playing Death Stranding right now.
That's fair.
But yeah, really good. And I can totally recommend it to you, Adrian and Christian. Like, you should play it.
It'll be an early next year game. Oh, that's kind of packed. Maybe January, squeeze it in before the big release.
I was going to say, you need to make it early next year if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Holy moly, 2020.
I almost bought it this week while I was farming, because obviously I was playing nothing.
Yeah.
I thought, I even looked it up on Steam, but it's a bit more expensive on Steam. Does it? What are you playing it on, Matt?
I was playing on PC.
PC. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Did you know if the frame rate is better on the PC than it is on the PS?
I don't know, but
it's Unreal though, right? So it'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be pretty good on console.
I'm playing it on stock standard PS4, and I've had no issues with the frames. The polish problems the game has, I think, are in other areas. So yeah.
It's hard for me now that I have such a beast of a machine, that if a game comes out on the PS4 and the PC, and now that I know I can connect my PS4 controller to the PC, I rarely feel justified in buying it on the PS4 anymore.
Yeah.
Only if it's only available on that console.
Yeah. I think it's still quite easy to console game with solo experiences, because you don't have to rely on any of the PC sort of online features like Discord and stuff to talk to other people when you're playing. But I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of the games we play, so maybe that doesn't hold true for you guys necessarily. So, yeah.
I'm not talking to many people while I'm farming shinies.
No, that's true. Maybe you should be.
Maybe in my head.
You should be talking to people to talk you out of it. That's what you should be doing. You know, the amount of time you spent farming shinies this week, you could have played through the entirety of Judgment Jedi Fallen Order and finished the game.
I could have learnt a new skill, is what I could have done.
Learn the actual force.
Yeah.
Could have mastered another alphabet. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Fallen Order by the end was 28 hours played for me, but I guarantee it.
Adrian, you could have finished it twice.
Half of that time was me in character customization.
Wow. Interesting.
I'm sitting on a menu, so...
I'll jump in next thing, so I'll talk a little Fallen Order too. So I put a little bit more time into Fallen Order during the week. Not a huge amount, but I was spurred on quite a bit by my absolute fucking love for the new Mandalorian TV series. And speaking of John Wick, holy shit. So if you're not watching Mandalorian, you should check that shit out. So I'm currently up to, I think, Kashyyyk. And I will make one observation about that game, which was shocking to me. The Wookiees in Jedi Fallen Order look like ass. They look like ass. Ass. They're bad. They look real bad. So, and
you think so?
It's the hair. The hair looks bad. Speaking of fucking shinies, oh my god. So,
okay, that's kind of fair, but
it's like they've all bathed in pert, you know, and they've got
none of that Tomb Raider hair tech.
No, none of that.
Like if it was Tomb Raider hair tech, like you wouldn't be putting that on an entire body. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Adrian's PC could run it.
Probably
Maybe,
could. Yeah. Maybe if you were hunting for shinies on your PC, you would have found one by now, hey? Yeah.
Maybe the high definition, I could spot it in the code. I could see it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, I mean, but other than that, I've had a whole bunch of weird, random sort of polish issues. Like, I've had, like, enemies...
Polish issues?
The polls, like, you know, they're really getting into my game and fucking things up. Like, they're pushing stormtroopers into walls, and they're, like, getting stuck in them.
I have never had that.
I've had that at least twice. Yeah. I've actually had to do a hard reset a couple of times as well because things have just glitched out so badly that everything just froze. Wow. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
The game was flawless.
I'm wondering how much of that is like stock PlayStation 4 though. I actually don't know. So.
Yeah. That sounds like potentially PlayStation 4 version issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had none of those problems on PC.
Yeah. But all that being said, I love the game. I think, you know, I'm actually willing to overlook a lot of that stuff because it's freaking awesome. And from what I've heard, I don't know the exact details. From what I've heard, it finishes really, really strongly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And I fear that someone may have actually spoiled an element of that for me today, which I'm really angry about. So, and I'll talk to you later about that, obviously, when I finally get to it, because I don't want to run the risk of it actually not being a spoiler. Yeah. But from what I understand, they need to make a sequel to this thing. So, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Considering how well it's done, I mean, it's not like they're going to stop. Like, who stops off great success? Like,
well, they've said that it's their most successful Star Wars launch game from EA so far, including Battlefront. So yeah,
I remember reading
it deserves a spot in that pantheon of like the most beloved Star Wars games. Like, this is up there with like Knights of the Old Republic for me, as far as like narrative and gameplay. Yeah. Oh, absolutely! Like
and the dance one.
That's Star Wars Connect.
Yeah. That's the one that gave us the Han Solo song.
Masters of Terra's Kasi, the PS1 Star Wars fighting game.
Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beat
Saber.
That's canon.
That's Star Wars.
It's canon. Yeah.
Sort of Star Wars game, Luke.
Totally is.
Be kind, his memory's going.
But all right. So apart from Fallen Order, I've obviously been playing Stacks of Destiny because it's the end of season and I'm trying to get my last few triumphs in to get the seal. Enough of that. There's plenty going on in that space. But plenty of Death Stranding is probably the other big thing that I've played a bunch of this week. So very keen to chat to Christian a bit more about this because Death Stranding, that game is fucking good.
How about them strands, huh?
How about them strands? Yeah.
Roads are strands, bridges are strands, wires are strands.
Mm-hmm. I was flying foxing down an invisible strand.
Foxes are strands.
Yeah.
There's just strands everywhere.
There's a definite theme going on. I don't know if anyone's picked up on it.
Is it strands?
No, it's actually...
I think they're going crazy.
I think they are, Adrian. Well, not going. I think they are crazier than usual. Yeah. I think they've got the Kojima.
They do have the Kojima.
It's a condition.
Did you guys see Deadly Stranding, the knockoff mobile game by Kajumbo?
No, I didn't.
There's like a knockoff Death Stranding called Deadly Stranding, and the description is like the next masterpiece from Kajumbo.
Kajumbo. I love it.
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah.
No, the actual Death Stranding is a brilliant game. It's actually dumb as fuck in some ways, but brilliant in other ways. Like it's, I don't know. It's not the kind of game I would normally gravitate towards. I think like I don't usually like micromanaging that much, but there's something about Death Stranding that really appeals to me. I think it's more the exploration.
Is it the pretentiousness?
See, I don't know. Like I actually don't find it pretentious.
No, I don't think that's what I strictly meant.
No, but like
the vibe of it, the vibe of this game. Like if you would, like what I know about it, I would have gone, that's absolutely a Christian game. Like when I thought about it, I totally would have like pictured you playing it.
Yeah, it's like there is like it's like half of the things about the game I would fully have expected myself to really enjoy, and then there are other things that I wouldn't have expected myself to enjoy, but I ended up enjoying all of it. So
I think it's one of those games where like the weird sort of scaffolding around it to sort of fit it into the narrative overall is a bit like odd. Like you're either up for that or you're not. Like it depends on whether you've enjoyed Kojima's kind of past madness or not. But the beat by beat actual gameplay I think is really fucking good. So if it's what you're after, like if you're after that really cool kind of exploration and gradually building and a bit of resource management and kind of trying to find that balance between all those things and the kind of the navigation aspects of actually walking and traversing the terrain I think is actually just really relaxing. It's it's tricky in parts, but it also is just enjoyable on a smooth way. Yeah. Go, Adrian. Go.
How much do I have to use my brain to play Death Stranding? Like, do I need to? You say there's like micromanagement in it. Do I need to be really like concentrating and focusing and trying to like be winning all the time, or trying to like? Is it that kind of thing? Is it like XCOM kind of micromanagement, or is it?
Oh, I don't think so.
Than that?
I don't think so. No. Okay. Because you can like with the like arranging cargo on your back thing, you can hit a button just to automatically arrange it optimally. Like you don't need to actually figure out how to distribute your weight. So the gameplay loop you can boil down to go to delivery center, select a quest basically from a list, select a delivery mission from a list, and then it'll tell you on the map where you need to go. You dump the cargo on your back, arrange it, and then maybe do a map point to your destination, and then you follow that line and then deliver it to your destination. But then along the way, you're having to lay down ladders or climbing anchors. If there's BTs in the area like the ghosts, then there are stealth sections. I know you're not big on stealth gameplay a lot of time, Adrian, but you have to sort of stealthy your way through them. And
they're short sections though. They're not particularly long.
They are short.
Yeah.
Is it like Soulsy and Metroidvania where you're like connecting areas so that you don't have to backtrack and like creating like opening up new travel pathways into areas you've already been to?
I'd say in the most tenuous way. Like you are making it easier overall to traverse areas, but it's not like nothing's really like locked off. It's more just you cross country on foot the first time, and then maybe you invest some time in making a road so that you can just drive between those 2 points next time, or you invest in creating like a zip line network so you can easily get between like 4 different points. So you are making it like you're investing time to make it easier to traverse, but it's not like Metroidvania or Dark Souls where you're unlocking things that are already in the environment. You're having to create those things.
Yeah. As you're sort of traversing the map, you kind of tend to move into new big areas, and then within that area, you're kind of going between different sort of landmarks quite a bit. So you're doing like short deliveries between some of these new areas that you've kind of discovered, and that's where like putting some of the methods in for traversing to get over really tough terrain, because some of the terrain is really fucking tough. Like huge amounts of rocky areas and fast flowing rivers and stuff like that, where actually having ways to like rappel over them or sort of build a bridge or something like that actually does help quite a bit. But the cool thing with the way that they built this as well, with the social network aspects too, is that other people who have built those things, they're their things might actually get instanced into your game, and you can actually leave thanks for them for putting those things in those locations. So it's a really cool system like that.
I think one important thing with that system to mention is that when you go into a new area, other players' objects are only visible after you've reached your destination. So the first time you go somewhere, you're doing it all by yourself, and then you get to the destination and you basically connect that new area into the network. And then once you've done that, all the other players' stuff will show up. So even on your return journey, you'll see, oh, that river that I, stacked it in and some of my cargo got washed away. Somebody's built a bridge over that, so I can just walk right over it. If you ran out of climbing anchors at this one particular point, somebody else may have left one there, and you go, oh, yay. But the fact that that's only happening on the return journey is important, so that you are going it alone first time through.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that stuff degrades over time as well.
Yes, yeah, because there's the whole thing in the game where rain is called time fall, and rain makes time accelerate whatever it hits. So objects that you lay down are temporary.
If you go out in the rain?
If you go out in the rain, then your cargo degrades.
What about you?
You've got a rain jacket on. Yeah.
You're wearing special plastics that don't
anti-aging plastic.
Yeah,
anti-aging crap.
I need me some of that shit.
With some L'Oreal cream.
Your cargo, which is
okay.
And then snow later on degrades things even faster as well. And it's also the BTs. They only hang out in the rain as well. So like the rainy sections are like the tricky sections. But yeah, as just a quick example, so over the last couple of days, I've done a series of missions where I've kind of had to hook all the way around a mountain range, avoiding going over the peak. And then there were a number of areas with human enemies. There was a swamp and a forest and some BT infested areas. And I kind of did this horseshoe around the mountain range to a new destination. And then once I reach that new destination, that's why when I unlocked the zip lines for the first time, so I can actually create kind of a tram system, like a monorail system that you can actually build. So then I invested the time in building that over the mountain range. So having to actually go up into the snowy mountains where it's super hard to traverse, putting in a lot of effort and time into lining these zip lines up so they're spaced correctly, so they're maintaining line of sight, everything like that. But now I've built this zipline network over this mountain pass. So what took me an hour's time to cross properly and maybe avoid some BTs, I can just do in 30 seconds now, or 90 seconds. And that's really satisfying to put that time in and have a concrete reward at the end.
Yeah, it's cool.
Can you drill through the mountain?
No.
Oh.
No.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's everybody's Death Stranding name? Because I'm Game Dadman.
Dadman.
Yeah. I think Adrian would be Shiny Grind Man.
Shiny Grind Man. Perfect. I like
in
it.
Death Stranding, the male characters are all just something man. So there's Dead Man, Heart Man.
It's like Mega Man.
Die Hard Man. Yeah, it is like Mega Man.
I don't want to be Shiny Man.
Find something about yourself. I don't know.
I do like grinding.
It might just be Host Man.
Host Man.
Host Man.
Yeah.
Sure. It makes it sound like I've got a parasite within me, but that works, I guess.
And then the female names are all just single kind of soft sounding things like Fragile or Mama or I guess Quiet was from Metal Gear Solid. But.
Yeah. Very similar kind of theme though with that. Yeah. None of these cool Metal Gear names like Sniper Wolf or anything like that. So yeah,
isn't the president named America or something?
Samantha America Strand.
America Strand. But
that's right.
Technically, that she did change her name to America after she became president. If you read all the emails, you find that out.
That's okay then.
Yeah.
Same with
imagine if Donald Trump renamed himself to be America Trump or Donald America.
No one would be surprised if he did that.
Your main character in Death Stranding is named Sam Porter Bridges, and Porter is somebody who carries shit, and Bridges is a bridge, a strand, and the name of the delivery company is Bridges. And Sam, I suspect, is Uncle Sam.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But his sister's also Samantha, so it's probably just they ran out of names. I don't know.
His sister? Yeah, his sister's Amelie, isn't it?
Amelie and Samantha? I think there's a Samantha in there somewhere. Maybe I'm just I don't know. I've got
Either
Timefall
way,
on the
it's
brain.
really important, obviously.
It's
Yeah,
super
yeah.
important.
The character names literally I don't give a shit about beyond the cool sounding ones like Dead Man and Die Hard Man. But I think that it can be said. No, not Rock Hard Man. That's a different game.
Rock hard, man.
Yeah, but I think that now we can put Death Stranding in the conversation of like the best Christmas game because it's got Die Hard Man in it. So that totally, yeah.
I think like one too many monorails. You had to connect those very far apart to make them work.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I don't really know what else to say about Death Stranding because it's a game that you have to really just experience for yourself. Like, yeah, mechanically it doesn't sound that exciting, delivering stuff and building stuff up. You really have to experience it.
Yeah,
I'm keen on both Fallen Order and Death Stranding. They both sound really good to me.
I think it's just it all comes down to the expectations that you have going in. Like if you know what you're getting into, you'll probably be fine. And for those two, because they're such vastly different experiences, I think there's probably two you could play at the same time because they both sort of scratch different itches. But
then when will I farm, Luke?
Well, you can farm resources in Death Stranding to a certain extent. So maybe
Shiny resources? Are they shiny?
Sure. If I say yes, will you stop doing the other thing?
There are timefall farmers.
All right, just blacked out for a second.
Yeah.
Because time accelerates to whatever it hits. The farmers have it easy because they plant the seeds, and then the rain, it rains, and then they grow in an instant. So
it's pretty
And
cool.
then they go out to collect it, and they just deteriorate immediately.
Well, they have a whole system.
Yeah, it all works out.
Lazy shits.
Anyway, all right. Well, anyway, let's move into some news for the week. So, unless Christian wanted to jump in with last,
I was just going to say one last thing actually that I wanted to mention is before playing Death Stranding, the number of Monster Energy drinks I'd consumed in my life was 0. Since playing Death Stranding, I've consumed 4 Monster Energy drinks.
So the marketing worked.
The marketing did work.
I saw a tweet of you drinking Monster Energy drink, and I was like,
Monster Energy Ultra Zero is delicious.
is it? Or have you just
No, it is. Like I've drunk other energy drinks like Red Bull or V or like whatever. They're all trash, all trash. Monster Energy drink Zero Ultra is actually quite nice.
Matt, I need your help, Matt. We need to organise 2 interventions.
I'm hoping to find a shiny monster.
Yeah.
at the bottom of the can?
But
It's there.
the monster cans have disappeared from my game. They've been replaced by like in-game. It's called Timefall beer. Like I'm actually wondering if like at a certain point in the game or after you've seen a certain number of Monster Energy drinks, that was all like their license or deal was for or something. Because I'm genuinely curious because I'm disappointed that I no longer see Monster Energy in the game now.
Maybe the Timefall rain fermented them into beer.
Maybe
Maybe it's a new product coming from.
That's just
Monster.
science.
that's just science.
That's just science.
You actually carry a canteen around with you, and it converts regular rainwater and river water into Monster Energy drink. It's fucking whack. Yeah.
What? Why is Monster in this? I have no idea why this is a
Product placement.
Placement.
I don't get
Is that
it.
literally what it is?
It's what it is. Also, Norman Reedus' Ride on AMC. Norman Reedus has a TV show about riding motorbikes. And in Death Stranding, when you go to the bathroom to do number 2, there's like a banner comes up that has an ad for Ride with Norman Reedus.
And I think that show's already been cancelled. I think.
Has it really?
Yeah. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I also know I haven't experienced this, but I know that there's like a special bike that you can get in Death Stranding that is like based on Ride with Norman Reedus from AMC. And when you're riding it, your character says, "Wow, this is great! It feels like I'm Norman Reedus on Ride on AMC."
You know what I don't like?
And that's said by Norman Reedus.
You know what I don't like? And just very quickly, because we're about to move on. The fact that Conan O'Brien is in the game.
Oh yeah, he's
Jeff Keighley's in the game as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't like that Conan O'Brien is in the game only because his channel, what was it called? Clueless Gamer?
Yeah.
His channel, Clueless Gamer, he clearly has contempt for gamers. Like, he very clearly does not respect people that plays video games.
I disagree. I think it's an entire bit, but sure.
I absolutely do not believe that for 1 second that it's a bit. I don't believe it at all. And that's why I don't like that he's in this game. I don't think he deserves to be in a video game.
Okay. There you go.
I think it's dodgy.
Fight me, Conan O'Brien.
The editor of Famitsu, the Japanese review site, is also in the game, and Famitsu gave it 10 out of 10. So that's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
But then again, you're drinking tons of Monster Energy drinks. So.
I'm loving it. No regrets
when I go to poop, sitting down and seeing the Game Awards and seeing Kojima going up and getting an award for Death Stranding.
You also get a grenade when you poop. Because you get seriously, there's number one grenades which are made from your character's piss, and there's number two grenades that are made from your shit, and number zero grenades are made from his dirt, his shower runoff water.
The number zero is the third body fluid.
That's what. Yeah, number three is the other one. That's the secret one.
Mm-hmm. The secret sauce. Yep. Anywho,
can we move on?
Let's move on.
Please.
All right, so let's talk some industry news. Matt, talk to us about the Half-Life stuff, because we talked about it briefly last week. How was the trailer? Did we all watch it?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's going on?
Yeah. So Half-Life Alyx was leaked last week and then got announced last week, and then a trailer was released this week. And I'd said last week that I was expecting it to kind of be a tech demo-y type thing, with robots rather than any sort of actually fully fledged Half-Life game. And I was entirely wrong. It is a fully fledged Half-Life game, and it looks fucking incredible. And I have very rarely been so happy to be completely incorrect. It looks fucking fantastic. It only makes me wish that it wasn't just VR. Being able to it's all the Half-Life assets I know, but I know they've been upgraded and up-resed, and they are completely remodeled. Some of the stuff looks entirely different with new little bits and pieces of detail and everything that was definitely not there in Half-Life 2. So they now have all the assets they need to make Half-Life 3 if they want.
I think Half-Life 3 would be in VR. That's my feeling.
I don't know. I kind of hope that it's not. I hope that this is their way of sort of saying, hey, we've done our VR thing. We've reestablished the fire in people's bellies for the Half-Life franchise. Now, because everybody's interested again, we've kind of cleaned the slate to a certain extent. Now we can actually go in and do 3.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know if I expect Half-Life 3 to happen.
My feeling is that the team was we have this awesome concept for Half-Life 3 perhaps that we want to make. It's a VR game, but they want to stretch their legs and practice making a VR game so that they're confident if they invest the time in making Half-Life 3 for VR, it would meet people's expectations. So they're making Half-Life Alyx as basically a proof of concept. People will enjoy this. It does work. It will sell. We're confident enough to actually make Half-Life 3 now in VR. So that's the impression I get.
Maybe.
Yeah. I go on, Adrian.
What do I need to play it?
Any PC VR, so Oculus, Vive, or Index, or the Microsoft Mixed Reality. Mm-hmm.
How much do they cost?
Upwards 600 to 1,200.
Yeah, they're very expensive. And it does. You already have the PC that can run them, so you've got that much at least. But if you didn't have the PC that could run them, you'd have to buy a $2,000 PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are some people out there that are perhaps understandably upset that they can't play this thing. Yeah,
nah, screw on.
I am not keen on buying a VR headset to play this.
I'm probably not going to buy a VR headset for it, but I'm not bitter at all. If they want to make something that is specifically designed for this technology and it's going to be, custom fit for that technology, that's cool. I'm glad they're doing that, and I'm glad they're not making something that's one size fits all, and then having to make it work on everything and reduce the sort of uniqueness of it. So
absolutely, yeah.
You know what? Watching the footage of the game. You know what makes me excited is that it's getting closer and closer and closer to that perfect, ideal VR experience that we all want. I love the idea of getting that game and the equipment for it, and then giving it to my wife, and because it's so immersive that she'd be able to play it. She'd be able to connect with it in a way that she doesn't connect with video games usually.
Yeah. Because
it's entering a whole other realm of experience. I really find that really exciting.
Yeah. I have a dream of getting a VR game so immersive that they can do horror properly to the point where I will shit my pants literally. The game is so good.
I was literally just about to say that's the one thing that worries me about it. Jump scares in VR. There's been a bunch of studies done. by like VR developers actually making experiments and then seeing how far they can kind of push things. And so the problem is not making a VR experience that allows you to have a pants-shittingly scary VR game. That's not the problem. The problem is the lizard brain, because like when you want to run away from something scary, like if you're playing a game and you're not wearing a VR headset, the quickest way to get away from something overly scary, if you make an overly scary game, is to just exit the game, right? Or pause it and take a breather. But in VR, like you're completely immersed in it. The threat feels much more real. The quickest way to escape a threat in VR is to pull your headset off. And that just completely breaks the immersiveness of the VR experience. It takes you out of it. So making a truly scary VR game is one that you just quit out of because your lizard brain says, get the fuck out of here.
No, they need to make a headset unit that's basically like a VR chastity belt for your face.
Okay, and this is what one of my students suggested, and I said, that's incredibly evil.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think too bad. Like, like if you're too scared to play it, then fuck off. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the only thing. Like, jump scares are bad, and I feel like from watching the trailer, that's my main concern. Like having head crabs jump at you from out of the dark, that's jump scare, right? And that will shock you and make you pull off the headset. And Half-Life's never meant to be a horror game, so that's kind of problematic. They kind of got to be careful with that.
I don't know. I'd say it's borderline horror. Like.
The Ravenholm section in Half-Life 2 was definitely, I'd say, horror. That section.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
yeah.
Other than that, not really.
Yeah.
Well, it scared me.
It scared the shit out of me. It's definitely tense.
It's scary. I think other parts of the game are scary, but the kind of conventions of a horror game, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but otherwise, like, other than the one jump scare that I saw in it, like, it looks fucking great. Like, the one thing I noticed was that the controller movements in it are definitely smoothed, and there's an option for that when you're actually using a VR headset, but it doesn't feel right because the controller doesn't move where your hand moves.
The detail on some of the movement was great. Like, the thing that I loved the most about that entire trailer was the bit where Alex is actually searching for ammo on a shelf and she's pushing objects to the side and actually trying to find these spare shells at the back. I thought that amount of detail is fucking awesome. So,
Yeah, and that was the scene where I noticed that it's definitely been smoothed out. Yeah.
And for anyone wondering, they've said that you can play it seated or room scale.
Cool.
And you can use hand controllers or you can use finger tracking.
Ooh, finger tracking.
Yeah. And what was the other thing? Oh, and there's mod support at launch as well.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, I don't think there will be, but I'm wondering if there'll be the ability to make 2D games through the mod support. I don't think there will be, but that's a possibility.
Gary's Mod VR.
Oh man, prop hunt in VR.
Yeah,
Holy
Trouble in
hell.
Terrorist Town VR. This actually like if that would be amazing if that happened.
What about multiplayer first-person shooter? Is that on the cards now?
It will have to be eventually. I'm sure it will.
I mean, there are already some games like that on PS4, but they're just not that great.
Yeah, that's the main problem with them.
Yeah. I think movement's the trickiest thing for a lot of those games to kind of overcome.
And Half-Life has the full suite. Half-Life has just like full motion, or it has the teleporting where you like send a thing out, and there was a third movement option in there too that I can't remember. But you can choose your own comfort movement option.
Yeah.
If it gets good reviews, I'm gonna have to get a VR headset.
I think I will too. Maybe we'll get like a party-loaded headset and we'll share like Radioactive Man.
We'll stream it, but it'll just be this setup, but we're all got like... This is amazing! I wish the viewers at home could see this.
Absolutely.
3 hours.
The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of sort of new types of gaming, one thing that's actually making the rounds quite a bit this week in terms of pushing into the gaming space is actually Facebook. So I don't know if you guys saw, but Facebook have actually, as of the last 24 hours, announced that they've just acquired the developers of Beat Saber. So they're now owned by Facebook Gaming, which of course is Oculus VR as well. So there's a definite sort of tie-in there to the tech, which is super interesting. A lot of people didn't necessarily receive that news with open arms.
As they shouldn't.
Yeah. But they're making big pushes into the Facebook gaming space, competing with Mixer and Twitch as well. The one that was just announced this last week is that there's a very well-known ex-Hearthstone streamer by the name of, I think it's Jeremy Wang, otherwise known as Disguised Toast. So he's been fairly well known in the Hearthstone community for being like one of the guys who did streams about breaking the game. Essentially, like he found ways to like push Hearthstone to its limits and do weird, wacky combos that just like did infinite damage and all sorts of crazy shit that glitched out the game and things like that. So, and he used to stream actually hidden by a mask. Nobody knew what he looked like, and he eventually kind of took that off and just became part of his persona. But he's actually accepted some sort of deal to move over to Facebook gaming and stream there exclusively. And this is in the wake of a lot of these big news stories about people moving to Mixer or off Twitch doing their own thing or whatever. And this is the first one I've heard of like I mean, he's reasonably high profile. He does a lot more sort of auto battler streaming now, so he's becoming pretty well known in those communities. But it's a significant get for Facebook, and I'm wondering if this is the first of many. Like if they're going to start sinking big cash into pulling some of that talent, like some of the other platforms has.
Like with Mixer, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the beginning of a big trend. So yeah, Adrian.
Luke, when are we going to be offered a lucrative deal to move our podcast to some sort of appropriate platform?
Well,
Pornhub.
Yeah,
Pornhub.
Yeah.
Camboys.
I'd say that's the only one I think we could actually accept.
Adrian, no.
Jesus, no. Okay, there goes that deal. Anyway. Oh, God.
I can't wait to screenshot
that. Hey, if Greg Miller can get away with it, Adrian can get away with it. All right, Christian, what do you got for us to close out the news this week?
I've got Pokemon Company suing motherfuckers.
Hey!
Yeah. So the Pokemon Company are attempting to sue people who leaked images from the Pokemon Sword and Shield guidebook ahead of time. So they revealed a number of unannounced Gigantamax forms, and they posted some images to Discord, and they haven't been identified. So Pokemon Company basically subpoenaing Discord, saying like, give us private information about these users so that we can sue them. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about it, because unlike there's been another lawsuit in the news, which was Epic Games, who sued somebody for leaking Fortnite Season 2 information before the whole black hole thing happened. But in that case, it was a tester who had signed an NDA and broke that NDA. And so for me, in that case, I'm like, it's harsh, but they need to enforce their things. Yeah. With the Pokemon one, though, I feel like they don't like. That may have been someone at a store who got the delivery early, hadn't signed anything to like say that they're not going to leak that. And I don't know. Like, how do you guys feel about it?
I think that's a slippery slope. Adrian, you've actually muted yourself. Your microphone's up by your head.
Yeah, you got to move it in front of your mouth.
You pulled your shirt off.
Back.
Yeah.
Listeners that didn't watch the video are just be like, what the fuck happened?
I think all's fair. I think if Pokemon Sword and Shield was good, I'd be on their side.
Right.
Think if I had my fucking shiny by now, I'd be like, yeah, sue whoever you want. Maybe I'll sue you.
I think that there was the whole thing about like there was some Nazi Discords and people were trying to get information about those. And Discord was like, no, we're not in the business of giving that information out. But they did shut down those servers though, right? Because it's their platform, they get to police it. So having like Nintendo come along and basically be like, hey, we want to sue these people, I seriously doubt that Discord is going to give that up. In much the same way that like you wouldn't want the FBI going to Google and saying like, we suspect this person, that owns a Google Home was in some illegal activity, and we want everything that the Google Home has heard them saying.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't want that to happen. And
I
like,
think that can happen though.
it can't.
Legally, isn't it down to like the end user license agreement where you might have to sort of say that you can't do stuff like that? Because otherwise they have no grounds. Like if you sign an NDA, then sure, but otherwise it's the EULA or nothing.
Yeah.
So
because Apple and Google have been very, very resistant against that sort of thing, because like that's a dangerous proposition, right? Like we already kind of see that a little bit in Australia with the fact that the police can get access to IP address information as to what they've accessed and that sort of thing.
Whole other issue.
Yeah, it's a whole other issue. But imagine if big game company could start to get access to, like, okay, we want to know about every Discord that you have and the users in servers that have the word pirate in them.
But there's no like reasonable cause there, right? Like my understanding is that if there's a sufficient level of evidence to suggest that this is like necessary to, for law enforcement, that they can subpoena the company to divulge information. But they can't. Police can't just be like, just do a search for child porn and tell us everything that comes up.
If it's something specific and it actually illegal, then yes. But that's why I'm saying, like, I think if Nintendo won this lawsuit, that'd be a bad thing, because then, like, okay, I can go and subpoena somebody because, like, they talked about my game and said nasty things, right?
I know. I definitely agree that it would be really bad, because in this case, there's no reason. Like, the Pokemon Company doesn't have any evidence of, like, that these people have, like, broken a specific agreement or, like, a law that they agreed to. Like, I know none of us are lawyers, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, that's my kind of reading of the situation. I actually read the first like 5 pages of the like legal filing that the Pokemon Company has submitted, and they talk about, like, it did damage to their brand, and they talk about like their marketing strategy and how it, like, interrupted their marketing strategy and all that sort of stuff. But I'm like, whatever. Like, unless they signed an NDA, screw you.
Yeah, this would actually be a really good segue into our main topic, given that the IP control thing was part of that game. Because I do think there's an extent of that. Yeah.
This policing can take a dark turn. Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive in then. So our main topic tonight, we're actually getting back to... it's been a little delay since we did our next party stream of the month, because we've had a whole bunch of things happening. PAX, episode 200, some crazy stuff. But back into the monthly schedule. And Matt, our party stream review tonight. Tell us about Hypnospace Outlaw. What the fuck is this game? Because you picked it.
I don't know anymore.
Fair.
Hypnospace Outlaw is a game where it's like based in the 90s, and you are a internet moderator that is given control of like these internet forums that are accessed using like a VR headband that activates while you're sleeping. So you go to sleep and you can start browsing the web. So there's actually no downtime in your life anymore. You basically go to bed, put on your VR headset thing, go to sleep, and you browse the internet while you're sleeping. And so the way it plays basically is that you have to go to all these different websites. You have to go to all these different websites on the hunt for people that are doing certain illegal activities or activities that it's like the Hypnospace kind of company doesn't want them doing. And you get paid for it. So like you can go and be like, oh, this person's put up something that doesn't really seem like it's breaking IP laws that much, but it's enough. And I get paid if I report them and snitch. So boop, you can just you can be like really fucking evil. And yeah, so that kind of structure is how you kind of play it. And then it starts taking really weird turns when it sends you on like these hunts to find hackers that are getting into people's websites, and you have to go and download malware in order to actually get puzzle pieces to start solving things. And it starts screwing with your gameplay experience, making the screen all wavy or popping up horrendous images everywhere, and it takes a really dark turn.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking love it. It was really cool.
There's some cyber horror themes going on in a weird way.
Happening.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that like the cyber horror themes do get more intense later.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
Did you finish it?
No, I haven't finished it, but I had a friend talking to me about it. So semi spoilers, but like it turns out like the headset is actually potentially dangerous because you're entering it in this dream state, and it has access to your brain. And I'll leave it at that.
That's the lesson of basically every Black Mirror episode is don't let anybody fuck with your brain. That's it.
Yeah. I hope that Elon Musk goes and plays this so he knows, to be very, very careful with that.
So that it fucks with his brain? Yeah.
But yeah, so it was actually published this year. I didn't even realize that. It was March this year that it released. So also contender for Game of the Year, potentially. But published by No More Robots, developed by quite a few different companies I saw. So Tendershoot, Michael Lash, and That Which Is Media. And as Adrian already quoted, it has some pretty funny kind of like Bonsai Buddy-esque Professor Helper character that you have to deal with at one point.
When your computer gets a virus. Pop-up dude.
And he's like, I see that you're browsing the web. Let me help. And it's like, sure. And then he pops up like a fucking advertisement. Oh, that's helpful. Thanks, Professor Helper.
Yeah.
I would. You go.
I was going to say, just for my context, I watched you play it for maybe an hour and a half or something like that, 2 hours. How much longer did you go after that?
Maybe half an hour extra, I think.
Okay, so not a whole lot. Yeah.
Not a whole lot, yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of got through like the first, I would say, big sort of chapter, almost like third of the game from what I understand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where they kind of introduce you to the fact that like these headbands that you're wearing while you're sleeping and modding the game can be broken because they ask you to test this really shitty car game. You boot it up and they're like, hey, there are potentially bugs. You're not allowed to talk about this. It's all covered by NDA and everything. And you play it for like 30 seconds and the game glitches out so horrendously badly. It actually destroys your headset. And then it does a time skip that's like, 6 weeks later or something like that?
Yeah, it's the time it takes for a new headset to get delivered to you or something like that. Yeah.
And so you pick it back up, and because all the moderators had their headsets destroyed by this terrible beta game, when you get back, like the
shit's on fire. Yep.
Hypnospace has basically been just infested with all these new issues and everything.
Right.
The woman that we were spending that time, that was doing
the psychic.
The psychic, yeah. It turns out she went straight back to Kappa Cache.
Damn that Kappa Cache.
I know, right? And it was really funny because like there was a puzzle where we were trying to work out her password. And I noticed that she had like a username that was written somewhere in her website. And I'm like, well, what if I just search her username? And it popped up all these pages that belonged to her. And I just clicked on one of them at random and apparently completely bypassed the password, just went straight to her page with the protected Kappa Cache puzzle.
Yep.
I was like, okay, that's a pretty funny way
that kind of backdoor sort of stuff was very nostalgic of like old 90s internet.
Fuck yeah. But even like the password puzzle, like we still went back and actually solved the puzzle anyway, just to be sure, right? Because we knew, like, so she even actually was like, oh, so thank you to this guy for giving us advice on how to write a good password. And you go to his page, and his page has, like, advice on writing good passwords. And then you go to that, and it's all like, so it's like your birthday, the name of the place that you were born, and your favorite hobby. And you just put that all together in a password. And then you're like, well, we already know two of those things. We can take a guess at her hobby. Let's just enter that in. And we tried her password twice and immediately broke it.
Nice.
It's really neat little puzzle. A lot of it is just very kind of metagamey. I've been trying to think of the best way to describe.
Well, we come up with a few good ones by comparing it to other games. I feel like we sort of had the links to like searching for terms was very reminiscent of like Her Story.
Yeah.
sort of, getting keywords and doing searches based off that to try and find. I mean, in that game, you're basically finding more footage, but in this game, you're basically finding more links to pages with more information on them. So it's a similar kind of mechanic. But then the other one was that the investigation of individual people and different aspects of their profile was very Papers, Please.
Yeah, that kind of like fact-checking paperwork stuff was very Papers, Please, But I got the impression, just from what I saw, that kind of conceit of you having that moderator job, that seemed like something that would kind of fall by the wayside rather quickly, and that you would just delve into like investigating the truth behind what's happening or falling into the rabbit hole. Did that happen? Or because we went through the whole the whole like virus thing, and then you were exploring that page with like the 4 like cards on it.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of like not doing the moderator job. Did you then go back to doing the moderator job afterwards?
So that's actually tied into the moderator job. Okay. So like the virus that had infected different people's pages.
That was really off-putting, I just got to say. Like the whole tilting of the screen and like all of the...
Oh, God.
Ugh.
It was weird. But like the hacking of people's pages, we were like, hang on. So we kind of made the connection that the cards were actually referring to people in hypnospace.
Okay.
And then by following the clues that the hacker had kind of left about these people, we were able to locate their pages and then locate where the virus was, remove the virus from their pages, and then get through all of them. So we had to find 4 versions of the virus on 4 different pages, and we found it through that page. But that said, like how much do you like 3 care about like minor spoilers for the game? Yeah, you don't care.
Not at all.
So if you're listening, maybe take a break for like 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. But from what I understand, the way that the story goes, there's a point at which the headset like they keep on working on that game, and it goes so badly that it actually breaks headsets and kills people. So people that are plugged in and actually give the game a shot get killed by it. And so hypnospace shuts down, and then it actually time skips to years later, and you get brought in by this team that's basically wanting to archive all of hypnospace. And you used to be a moderator, so you can help them out with the archive. And in the process of doing that, you actually start digging into how hypnospace's creators were aware of the risks and potentially were aware of the fact that the thing they were pushing out was murdering people. And yeah, so it turns into a big mystery in like the latter half of the game versus the first half where you're kind of an enforcer working for hypnospace instead. So I definitely want to play more of it, but yeah.
So when the headset murders somebody, how much hypnocoin do you get for that?
How much hypnocoin do you get when you capture the boss?
Oh, yeah. I'm all in it for that hypnocoin.
It's not all about the coin, fellas.
Yeah,
Matt,
it's all about the coin.
Are you going to go back and play more of it?
I will probably go back and play more.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, look, 100% I'm going to go back and play more. But before or after Death Stranding, it kind of depends on how much Death Stranding captures my interest. So, yeah. If I do go back and play more, though, you can 100% guarantee that I'm going to stream it.
Cool.
It seems like it'll be short enough to actually be a really streamable game, versus like playing something that's 70 hours long and then having to hold myself to streaming every single hour of it.
Yeah.
This seems like, it's probably like a 10 to 16 hour game maybe, and I can totally stream that. So,
well, you've completed your orientation as well. You know how things work. You've got a pretty good idea what you're doing. So, yeah.
It should actually get way more interesting now. And for me as well, like this game has turned out to be like really inspirational for the game that I want to work on.
Yeah.
Which I kind of was hoping. But now I'm looking at this and it's like, okay, yeah, that's actually really cool. It does a lot of really neat stuff. I'm not going to go steal it directly, but the mood of it is exactly kind of what I want to capture a little bit of. Huh?
Can I be in your game?
Sure.
Do I have to wear a shirt?
Why
Do I
not?
have to wear a shirt?
You have to wear a shirt.
You can be in the special game, Adrian.
You can be in the horror edition.
Oh.
Yeah, you can be the DLC. You can be the downloadable crab.
Actually, I would totally put that in the game.
Downloadable crab.
We got all those recapture puzzles. We can just have like a list of Adrian with the crab hands.
I've got the claws.
Like select all the crabs.
Yeah.
Adrian's
Yes.
a crab.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be the way that you exit the game. It could be a button for that. It's the escape clause. So
Oh God. Please.
I look forward to it. I want to see it.
I think for Adrian to put himself forward to be in the game is a bit shellfish.
Ah, yeah.
Oh no,
Adrian, spare a bullet for me.
No.
Me too.
This
Yes,
this
you are
conversation has gone sideways. Let's put it back on track.
That was pretty good. I think the game looks
crab.
It looked crab. It looked a little bit interesting, but didn't look like a game for me. It looked like, oh yeah, I see what they're doing. Like this little like kind of mystery thing and uncovering bits and pieces and clues, but not the sort of thing that I think appeals to me. I'd probably maybe watch a bit more of it, but not play it.
Yeah.
Too much work for me. I think looking at it, I think I would just get bored and cry.
I think I'd get stuck, and then I'd look something up how to progress, and then in my mind, once I look up how to progress, it kind of opens a bit of a floodgate, and I'm like, well, now every time I get a little bit stuck, I'll just look up how to progress again, and then I'm not really playing the game. And so
that's me with point and click adventures. I really love point and click adventures, but I'm not very good at them. So I end up just using a guide to get all the way through it.
Actually,
And then I convinced myself it was okay because I basically just watched like a cartoon.
The big difference with games like that, though, yeah, like point and click adventures like your old Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the thing with those though is that most of the time they had a narrative that made the game fun outside of the puzzles. So you kind of still get the narrative if you go and spoil the puzzles by getting a guide for it. But a game like this is almost entirely the puzzles. So I feel like you would be absolutely wrecking it if you did that. So yeah.
So 100% this is the game for me. And I just remembered something. So Disco Elysium, it's a detective mystery game. And I was actually finding myself taking weird notes and making this whole mind map, trying to figure out who a suspect
up a notepad with a diagram of like bubbles and lines, like a mind map of his notes from Disco Elysium.
Yeah. And so there's a
lot of drawings of unsavory sexual positions. For those listening at home, there was like a 7 head and
swastikas.
No, come on.
Like a design for a clan outfit. I think that's all on there as well.
God damn it! Look, you guys are just jealous because you're really vanilla.
We can't all be grandmasters in Fallen Orders.
Anyway, I'm not a Nazi, by the way.
No.
I hate that.
That's exactly what a Nazi would say.
But yeah, so like this game makes me feel like I would sit there taking notes on the weird shit I was finding, so that I knew what to go back and search later on. Because like it has the whole like little notepad document thing you can keep on your desktop in the game. But getting to that is really clunky because that's entirely the design of it, right? Like it's meant to feel like a 90s interface.
That aspect is exactly the same as Her Story. It had a notepad on the desktop of that as well and used in exactly the same way, and it's just as clunky. So
It reminds me a little bit of how I ended up playing Cultist Simulator, like taking notes on that and like how to kind of do things, and like it has a bit of that Cultist Simulator, like being a bit creepy but also fun.
It definitely not mentioning Cultist Simulator now, I can see some parallels there. In like you having to experiment and kind of find the clues and try different things and piece things together. And I can see why that doesn't appeal to Adrian to a huge extent, and to me to a somewhat extent, just like Cultist Simulator. But I'm totally going to go back and play more of it. It's just like the rest of the year is packed as far as games. Like I may or may not end out sticking with Death Stranding, and probably be, and then it will probably be this.
And you got to play Sekiro still as well, so that's going to take.
You said that.
That's just what I just said.
Well, good, because
I'm going to play Sekiro twice.
Matt will play it. Matt will play and finish Sekiro twice in the time it takes you to find a shiny, Adrian. So
maybe he'll play mini games in the time it takes me.
But I won't get through the opening cutscene of Death Stranding before you get your shiny.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fair bet too. I would just say that I really dug the idea of this game. I think it looks cool. It's exactly the same sort of game that I, on occasion, do enjoy. I'm probably not as into that genre as you are, Matt, but I definitely would play this and enjoy the hell out of it if that was the kind of experience I was after, as I have been on occasion with, Her Story and Telling Lies and games like that. I probably won't play this one now, though, because I've seen a good third of it. I feel like there's no point going back and playing that section because I kind of know what to expect now. But I really enjoyed watching. I thought it was really cool. And sort of doing the whole dialogue thing as we were kind of playing through it and experiencing it together was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the hell out of that. So, yeah. I would still recommend it to certain people for sure. I think it's a good game in terms of the... I got to say, the 90s internet nostalgia really clicked well with me because I'm fucking old. So...
Oh, it totally clicked with you. And that the fact that it makes you feel old makes me feel older.
That's it.
I don't even remember a lot of that, so I must be,
look,
in comparison.
In all seriousness, I think that's definitely part of it. Like, if you're a child of the internet in that era, there's definitely more in that game for you.
Yes, definitely.
There's a lot of sort of sight gags and callbacks to things that were kind of, have since been memeified, very much. But yeah.
I remember as a kid, like the Professor Helper thing, massively nostalgic, because I remember having Bonsai Buddy as a kid, and like it had this whole text entry area where you could just like type in stuff and make it say stupid shit. And I remember, like, I would go to my friend's house in the morning before school and we just fuck around with Bonsai Buddy. And he was constantly having computer problems because it was probably loading up his PC with viruses.
Always, man.
Yeah,
there were like little stripper ones you could get too, where it put a little stripper in. You guys know,
Yeah.
Was that an invitation? Should I?
No.
I want to make a little Adrian desktop buddy.
Yeah, I'll just be like
just.
Yeah.
Adrian's currently shaking his boobs to the camera.
Instead of Bonsai Buddy, you could call it the Cheer Pet.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, anyone have any closing thoughts?
Call me?
A dickhead. Anyway, go on.
Any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Do we...
Game okay, not for me.
Game okay, Game okay is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me no Reiki.
Game good, would play, won't now, seen too much.
This is the most insightful podcast.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's definitely one of those games. I think if you want to sort of get the feel for it, watch some videos, watch our stream. In fact, you can go on to, for the next few months at least, go on to twitch.tv/partyloaded and look at the VOD from the session that we spent on there. We were a good hour and a half or 2 hours, I think, of play into that game.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
I think.
Yeah, we got through quite a bit. So you'll definitely watch that and get a bit of a feel for what kind of game it is. And if you think you might want to play it, then stop the VOD and go and play it because too much will be spoiled for you if you keep watching it. So,
yes.
Yeah.
The whole time you guys were streaming, I was farming.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Oh my god!
I wish I had actually had the balls to go and boot up Death Stranding, and the whole time here just be walking through watching the opening cutscene.
No, you actually do need to pay attention to that to some extent because there's stuff that you probably will find really confusing if you don't listen. Yeah,
I'm going to find it confusing anyway.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was going to say. You're absolutely right. But there's levels of confusion for sure. All right, well, anyway, that's the show, gentlemen. So, Party Stream of the Month, we'll announce our next party stream a bit closer to the date once we sort of cover off our Christmas schedule, because there will be a slight break over the holiday period. But we'll organise something fun. Is it my turn to pick the next one? I think it might be.
I think we've just been going randomly.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it's your turn, Luke.
All right, I'll find something that we can all play together. We'll come up with something cool. So we can do it as a bit of a holiday get-together of some sort.
Find a Christmas game.
A Christmas game?
Game.
It could be terrible, but because we'll be doing it together, it'll be fun.
Are there any good Christmas games out there besides Death Stranding?
Probably not.
Yeah.
That makes it even better.
There's a Home Alone game for the Super Nintendo.
Is there?
Can we all play it at the same time?
No.
Nope.
You can sit on my lap like Santa.
Step one.
Just like my fan fiction.
Anyway, thank you everybody for listening tonight. If you want to hit us up at all the usual locations, send mail through to mail@partyloaded.com. We, of course, are on Twitter @PartyLoadedShow. You can find us on Facebook. Just search for Party Loaded. And everything via the main hub at channelendgame.com, including links to our YouTube and Twitch. So hopefully you'll catch us back here again next week, Wednesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel for the live show as always. But we'll be posting it up in a few days on the podcast feed as well. If you can't make it live, it's always going to be there for you to enjoy regardless. So that's it. And we start kind of like from next week getting into some of the peak season discussions about game wrap-ups for the year. So so Christian, I believe you've got everything all set for our Gaming the Game Awards predictions for next week.
I have the spreadsheet. So what's all ready to go?
What's the plan? What are we doing? Tell everybody what they could expect next week.
Is it Game Awards next week?
Yeah, right? I think it is. Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah. It is now.
No, our predictions episode is next week at the very least. The actual Game Awards, I think, is the week after. So, but time-wise,
I made a spreadsheet with all of the nominees, and we're all going to be picking, making our picks for each category, and we're going to have a chat about that on next week's episode. And then I'm going to score them all up, and we'll compare how we actually did. Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything else you were.
No, that's it. We get super competitive, and I've got this weird memory of Adrian actually taking it out last year. Is that true, or am I remembering wrongly?
No, that's wrong.
Okay.
That is. Thanks for shutting that down as sternly.
What happened last year?
I can confirm 1,000% that Adrian would never ever get that correct. So
what happened last year? Mouth. Adrian and I were on the same amount of points, and then the bastard took out ahead of me, and I ended out in last.
That's what I'm remembering. Yeah. In fact, I actually knew that was the case. I just wanted to remind you, Matt. So anyway.
Oh, thanks. To be fair, like much like last year, there are categories where I'm like, nah, I have to make the passion decision, not the right decision.
Yeah, it's tricky, but we'll get onto that more next week anyway. So that's to look forward to in 7 days' time. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening. Hope you've had a good show. I know I have, but we'll see you back in 7 days' time next week. Until then, good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, gang.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.